All right, welcome back. We got a quick turnaround on this podcast edition. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I got to go get a haircut. Looking pretty gross up here, as you can see. Seeing my shortcomings in 4K. And we're also seeing the Chicago Cubs' shortcomings in 4K. Last two games, split them, 1-1. It's just a whole lot of bad. A whole lot of me just getting upset. It's like Shota Imanaga comes out the game on Saturday, pitches his butt off. I'm trying to keep this as G-rated as possible. I don't know how I can do that with the Cubs being the way that they are. 7 innings, I think only 4 hits, no runs. Outrageous pitching his butt off, man. And there's no run support. I don't understand how Shota Imanaga comes out of that without the win. That's one of the best. They're saying what? He's the best pitcher to have like the lowest ERA after 9 starts, like in history, in the MLB history. He's at like .8 ERA, something like that. Just this team is just upsetting. It's so annoying. Like Jameson Taillon pitched okay yesterday. He pitched good enough to where I think the Cubs should have been in a position to win. There's no run support. I think there's no timely hitting. There's so many concerns all over the field. They've given up the most amount of infield hits. Given up 70 infield hits at this point in the season. I don't know how big of a distance they are between like first and second. That's absurd. And like I've never missed Dansby Swanson this much. I've been criticizing him all season because I felt like he's been botching so many plays and hasn't really been producing at the plate. But I think we really need him back. I'd take Dansby Swanson and Nico Horner over Miles Mastrobuoni and Nick Madrigal any day, man. Just the bullpen wasn't even bad either. That's been our biggest problem throughout the entire season, and they weren't even that bad. There's just no sort of run support, no sort of generating offense, no hitting with runners in scoring position. It's upsetting, man. I know this team has like the capability of winning the division. They're still only 2 games back. It's bleak, and hopefully they're taking this day off and maybe just hitting the town, going to a few coffee shops, just walking around the neighborhood, maybe just trying to find themselves, ground themselves, do whatever it takes to, reel it back in, see what you need to work on, find yourself, because whatever you're doing, you're lost. It's awful. It's a terrible product to watch and to go back and see like where things went wrong. I think yesterday there was a second and third with no outs where they only were able to push in that sacrifice fly from Christopher Morel. That would have kept the game tied through 9. That would have given him a chance. That would have been spotted a runner in extra innings. It's so annoying. So annoying. At least we got that walk-off win. Oh yeah, that was an interesting play. I think there was some interesting discourse going on Twitter, saying like, oh, how did you not call that guy out? The ball clearly did pop out. I mean, you have to hang on to the ball. There's obviously like, there's that play at second base where they're turning the double play, where if you drop the ball, they'll still count out the runner on second base for the transfer. But that's completely different. That stuff doesn't apply when it comes to a runner at the plate. So I think people are getting confused. I see no problem with it, obviously. But yeah, I'm pretty. I don't know what to think. We got the Braves coming back. They're coming into Wrigley for a 3-game set starting tomorrow. I don't see how we stand a competitive chance. Still somehow only 2 games back. Shout out to the rest of our division for being absolute trash. Because that's definitely keeping us in the hunt for the division title. And yeah, I did see a very funny news report the other day. I think it was last night. About the St. Louis Cardinals and how they've had one of the worst starts in history. People are considering boycotting the games. They're not used to the terrible start. It's music to my ears. I love that. So, shout out to St. Louis. I hate you guys. That's all I got about baseball right now. Thankful that we got a day off from these shenanigans going on the north side, and we had a pretty good sports weekend. Otherwise, we had a couple Game 7s yesterday in the NBA. We had the Knicks and the Pacers. Last show, I predicted that the Knicks would close it out, and boy, was I wrong. Oh, the Knicks showed us that they are exactly who they are. They are the Knicks. That logo screams 90s, and nothing's changed since the 90s. They're still not winning. It's just... The Pacers just... I think it was some sort of, like, historical performance the Pacers put on, shooting. I mean, anytime that happens, you can kind of assume that they're going to win the game. Sucked to see that Jalen Brunson went out at the very end of the game. He's a super likable guy, which is crazy to say that anybody can make the New York Knicks or any New York team super likable. But you know, he's a guy that's super easy to root for. I wouldn't have minded seeing them win. It's just falling back into exactly who you are. The Knicks choked away that Game 7. You know, shout out to the Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton played super well. Pascal Siakam, been following him for a while, and he's a great player. He was shooting super well from outside. Bing bong, Knicks fans. Bing bong. Whatever. Don't really care much for that. I didn't really get to watch that game. I just was watching that while I was working at a restaurant. I did make it home in time to watch most of the Nuggets and the Wolves. That was a game. That kind of like brought me back to the old school NBA with more than anything kind of just the score. I think it was the Nuggets were in the low 50s and the Wolves in the high 30s at halftime. I think it was a 15-point halftime difference. It was very apparent that the Nuggets just ran out of gas. They only had 3 bench players come out, I think it was. Jokic only sat out for 1 minute during the entire game, and it kind of looked like it. Honestly, towards the end of the game, Joker was the only one really making any sort of moves. They were running ISO to him, and the way it was too heavy for him. I won't say at the moment it was too big. It just felt like they didn't have enough balance throughout the lineup to really be able to consistently, score. It also felt like Jamal Murray forgot that he was a basketball player towards the end. He only scored like 1 bucket down the stretch where it really counted. And it was super, super important that Karl-Anthony Towns was able to pick up the pace when Anthony Edwards wasn't really scoring in the beginning of the game. Karl-Anthony Towns was the best player for a while on the court. That's really what kept the Wolves in the game and kind of stirred the drink throughout the game. And they're a good team, man. I wouldn't hate seeing them in the finals. So they're going up against the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, the Mavericks have some superstars. They got Luka Doncic and what's his face, Kyrie Irving. So it'll be exciting to see. We'll see. I'll be interested to see who Rudy Gobert matches up against, who he'll be able to play defense on. And I'm excited for that series, more so than the Pacers and the Celtics. I think the Celtics are gonna make pretty swift work of that. So. Yeah, I don't really get into basketball very much until the very end, so this is some good stuff here. We also had a major in the golfing world. We had Xander Schauffele winning. I don't have much to say about it. I didn't really follow it super well. Obviously, the only thing that I knew about it was that Scottie Scheffler got arrested. But, nonetheless, it is another victory for a San Diego State alumni and Aztec for life, Xander Schauffele. As you can see, I am a alumni myself. Count that as a win in my books. We did it. We did it. So that's exciting. Happy for him. Not sure. I don't think he's won a major. He's always been in the hunt. He's always been making the cuts at these big tournaments, and to see him win, stoked on it. I know at the beginning of their round yesterday, it was between him and Colin Morikawa, who I also admire. Cool dude. I've seen interviews of him. Good player, but I would have been happy either way. There was also a big boxing match for the undisputed heavyweight titles of the world between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. I believe that's the pronunciation. A good match, really good match. And I'm not the one that follows any sort of fighting, not any boxing, MMA. I'm the type of guy where I'll hear about something the day of and I'll get super excited about it. I'll sit there, I'll watch it, I'll go out to a bar or whatever. Not going to follow it super closely. Obviously, there's those big names that you know about, the Conor McGregor types, in the boxing world, Canelo, Tyson Fury. So I've seen Tyson Fury a handful of times. Didn't know he was as big of a troll as he really is. He was on the ropes, kind of like moving his shoulders, like the Muhammad Ali clip. There was a point where he put both arms above his head, just in the middle of the match. So that's the type of guy that he is. I appreciate it. But Alexander Usyk definitely did win that match. He had a round, I think it was in the 8th, where he got Tyson Fury pretty good with the left hand, and he was stumbling, rumbling, bouncing off the ropes. He looked like the Windows screensaver bouncing between the edges. Saved by the bell, saved by, I don't know what, man. I don't know what it is about Tyson Fury. It looks like the way he moves, like no matter, even if his legs are bent, it still looks like his knees are locked out. It's strange, but it sounds like there's going to be a rematch, and I'm looking forward to that. So, shout out Alexander Usyk. He was very proud to represent his country of Ukraine, rightfully so. He put on a good show for everybody, and it's an exciting event that we were able to see midday on a Saturday, so that was cool too. Then what else do we have? We have a Game 7 later tonight in the NHL, Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. I haven't been following the NHL like I said I would. But I do remember I watched, I think it was either Game 2 or Game 3 of this series where the Vancouver Canucks came back from a 4-1 deficit, scored 4 unanswered, and won, beat the Edmonton Oilers. Sounds like this has been a pretty back and forth series. They're playing this one in Vancouver, so it's an all-Canadian series. I'll definitely keep my eyes on it, report back, do love playoff hockey. It's the most exciting environment that you can be in for sports. I think I've been to one game. Went to one game the years that the Blackhawks played the Anaheim Ducks in the Western Conference Finals. Blackhawks lost that game 2-1. They went on to win the whole thing, so it is what it is. It was just cool to be in the building. I was just happy to be there. And I'm sure that's what everybody else in Vancouver is feeling. So we'll talk about that in my next episode. I got to get moving, so I got a little haircut coming up, as I showed you guys. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you have any sort of feedback. And Cubs better figure it out. Or else. All right, it's over.